Hey there folks, and welcome back to the I Am CDB project. Of course, I'm your host CDB. You are not, and today we're going to do a head shave with Tabac, same thing as we used in the face shaving video. We'll use our Razor Rock 400, and I'm going to use the Harry's. Today I had a gentleman who wrote me this past week, and he said, I tried the Defender, it was just too rough, and I can see how that is possible. The Defender is fairly aggressive on the head, at least with the regular type blades. The Harry's is certainly smoother. The Defender tends to do a little better job for me taking off the hair, but it does feel a little rougher. There's no doubt about that. So you have to remain cognizant of that. If you just want it smooth and a very pleasurable, smooth experience, maybe try the Harry's or the card of your choice, or D, or whatever it is that you like. But the Defender definitely can feel a little aggressive for some. But today we're going to use the really smooth Harry's, which is one of my, quite frankly, one of my favorite overall razors, and it probably is my overall favorite cart razor. It's really good for a smooth shave, whether it be on the face or the dome. I do prefer overall the Defender on the dome because it just, I have to put forth less effort to get closer with the Defender, but it does feel a little rougher, or can at times. And so we decided today to just roll with the Harry's. Many people like it for head shaving and face shaving and everything else. And as you know, over the last year and a half or whatever it's been, I definitely changed my tune on cards. Of course, if you were to talk to me 2 years ago or whatever, I'd say cards are crap, you can't use them for anything. And as you know, that has changed when I started shaving my head and realizing that there is a place for them. And I actually started trying them on my face at the time, and it's like, you know what, they work just fine if you don't try to extend the blade too long. Now, if you have a super coarse or dense beard, it may be troublesome. I'm sure, it varies from user to user, but for me, I found you can use them and they can produce a pretty doggone shave, and they work very well for my head, which is primarily what I use them for. Occasionally, I'll roll with a, head shave if I'm traveling or something and forget to pack a D or what have you. But generally, I like to use the DE of some sort, AD of some sort, or a single edge razor on the face, and use some sort of cart, which is usually the Defender, on the head. And that was an excellent first pass. No problems whatsoever. Felt very, very smooth, very nice. No issues at all. I hope everyone is doing well. I presume mostly head shavers watch these videos. I could be wrong on that, but I think some people maybe watch both. And so I thank you for joining me. If you're a head shaving aficionado or not, or you're just considering it, I appreciate your time. In the same way I appreciate the folks who come for the face shaving videos and the talk about hardware and software and what have you. I tend to mostly just talk and so forth during the head shaving videos, because there's really only so much you can say, because I'm using mostly the same gear minus, changing out the software. But mostly I'm using the Harry's or the Defender. Last week I used the Leaf, which did a pretty good job, but I still did touch up with the either the Harry's or the Defender. I can't recall what I used to touch it up. If I were using a DE now, I'd have to be far more careful and keep going over and over and over in places. And that's why I enjoy the carts. They just seem to, the design and the angle of attack just seems to work better for me. I know that is not the case for everyone. There's some people who use DEs very effectively on their head. Some people use straight razors, chivettes, you name it, very effectively. But for me, these carts have really proven to be the most comfortable and effective, especially if you're shaving your head 7 days a week like me, and you don't want to spend a lot of time being careful. Now, of course, I recommend that you are careful all the time, but I just mean if you, you know, with D, I really have to watch what I'm doing more closely. Let's see what we need to touch up. A few little spots we missed because we were babbling, but overall, feeling pretty good. Try to get a very close shave today because I'm going to be out probably later this evening. We're going to a concert this evening, Breaking Benjamin, if you like rock and roll. Going to see that this evening, who I like anyway. And if you're into, you know, rock and roll, maybe you've heard of them, but I'm looking forward to that. We bought those tickets a long time ago. So looking forward to going and seeing that. Not looking forward to standing online out in the cold because it's going to be maybe low 30s, upper 20s. It's a little bit cold, but you know, that's what you got to do to catch a decent show. Sadly, it's not here in Charleston. For whatever reason, the powers that be here in Charleston can't seem to book a contemporary rock and roll act to save their lives. And we've spent in the city like $120 million to refurbish the Coliseum and Civic Center, and they don't book anything. You know, all they have is like WWE. Nothing wrong with WWE, it's good entertainment, but they don't book hardly any contemporary rock and roll shows, heavy metal, or, you know, whatever you want to call it. Let's just call it rock and roll as a catch-all. And it's frustrating because I have to drive to Huntington. It's not far. It's like, you know, 40 minutes, let's say. But I would love just to be able to drive right downtown here and catch a decent concert. But all they have is an occasional country act. Almost nothing in the way of any sort of contemporary rock and roll. Even, you know, older art, classic rock and roll from the, you know, 80s, 90s, you know, I'd settle for anything, but they just have not been booking the type of acts, and they book very few acts overall, at least in the Civic Center and the Coliseum. They've renamed it. Again, spent $120 million taxpayer money because they increased the sales tax in the city, but I've yet to see, in terms of their bookings, any improvement. Now, when I was growing up in the 70s and 80s, everybody came through there and played. They booked everybody from, you know, Motley Crue, Ozzy Osbourne, everybody that was anybody, Elvis, even in the 70s, early 70s, I presume. They booked everybody, but now it's just, you know, I don't book anybody. And just up the road in Huntington, they've proven they can mostly sell out those shows. So I don't see why Charleston can't. But anyway, I've really been touching up the heck out of this dome, which is a testament to the Tabac soap, because you can see there was no lather, but it feels great. I won't go through all the post routine other than to say I will be using it there. So when I get out of the shower, I'm gonna roll with a little fine Italian citrus. And of course, soap today was Tabac, excellent. The brush was the 400, which you see more times than not here. The wonderful timeless bowl. A lot of people have gotten those timeless bowls and have written me, you're right, it's the greatest bowl. It is, in my opinion. Best bowl you can buy for your money right there. If you don't want it to break, I can drop it on the tile floor here. It will not be harmed. And I like that. Of course, we used the Harry's razor, which is an excellent smooth cart razor. Check it out if you're interested. All right, I want to thank everybody for joining me. I may not be back for a couple weeks. I'm traveling, but I'll certainly put some content out as soon as I'm able to. I'll probably do something tomorrow, so you'll probably see a video tomorrow. But after that, the next 2 weeks upcoming, I'm going to be on the road, so you may not see anything. But in case I don't get a chance to wish you all a Merry Christmas, I would like to do that now. I hope you have a safe and happy and Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Until next time, I've been your host, CDB. You're not. God bless.